The best one I ever heard of was from my grandfather. In order to receive a promotion at the company he worked for, he was required to attain a master's degree. He was an engineer, of sorts, shall we say. This was the 1960s, and there was my grandfather sitting in a classroom with a bunch of 22-year-old hotshots, while he was 50 years old. For 6 weeks, no one spoke to him, he wasn't called on, the professor ignored him, and whatever work he did received an average grade. One day, a singularly difficult real-life engineering problem was presented in class from a local company called JPL. When none of the students could correctly answer it, the professor asked if anyone had any ideas. I love this part. My grandfather raised his hand and answered it. The professor told him he was wrong. Mr. Professor then told the class the answer. Grandpa then interrupted the professor and informed him that the answer given to the class turned out to be incorrect for that particular alloy, and that the week prior my grandpa's team the answer was as my grandpa said. The professor then asked Grandpa to come to the board and explain it in writing. He did. The professor then asked him who he was and what his job was. After the Mercury, Gemini, Apollo, Manhattan and other projects were thusly discussed, Grandpa never sat down in that class again. Or any other. He taught the class as one who actually did these things, from Fat Man and Little Boy to the Saturn rocket booster and everything in between. At the end of the semester, Grandpa received an A, and the professor informed him that he had received average grades before because his work just seemed too different than the textbook answers. The professor called a meeting of the department, and after a 60-minute interview they gave him his master's degree and offered him an honorary doctorate if he would teach there. He declined. 6 months later, Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. Every July 21st for 20 years, a new offer was sent to Grandpa to receive his doctorate and teach. He wasn't ignored anymore.